Hello there to you. Happy Sunday to everyone streaming. Thank you for tuning in and for watching Atlanta News First 4:30 edition on this Sunday, November 11th. Here to talk weather, and want to remind you as we get deeper into the discussion, and there was actually some weather to talk about. I know this weekend was simple, it was easy, you probably didn't have to pay attention to the forecast at all. As far as the weekend is concerned, we have much more active weather on the way, including two first alert weather days, one of which includes rain, the other includes much colder weather in the first alert forecast. In fact, the coldest since, technically last winter, that sort of condition is certainly still on the table in the first alert forecast. So do keep in mind there is certainly weather to keep your eye on, especially if you have the outdoor plans through the work week. Again, I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. If you're just now tuning in streaming, maybe the first time you have ever streamed Atlanta News First Plus, thanks for watching right off the bat. And want to let you know that at any point you can ask your questions about the forecast. Even if you're watching or streaming from abroad, outside of Atlanta, outside of North Georgia, outside of the Southeast. If you have any weather questions, comments, concerns, I can usually give you that answer, address your concern in the forecast. YouTube is the best place to do that. Atlanta News First is the account that we're streaming on. So if you're watching on Roku at home, you can always pull out your smartphone and go to the YouTube app or just the URL and search Atlanta News First, and you'll be able to join the stream there, comment there as well. You can also text us, 470-777-WANF. That is 470-777-9263. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and get to the forecast. It will be quickly cooling this evening, much like yesterday evening across metro Atlanta and North Georgia. Right now, live look outside. This is from kind of the north-ish end of West Midtown here. That's closest to the connector 7585 and the 17th Street overpass or bridge. So we're looking, kind of to the south and east. You can see the Bank of America, the Pencil building there in the distance. That is downtown, the Truist building there beyond that, just to the south. And then, of course, Midtown, closest to the camera, just across the connector. And the only difference from yesterday to today is the cloud cover that we're seeing outside. We do have some high clouds moving through North Georgia and in metro Atlanta, a signal, a sign from Mom Nature, so to speak, that bigger changes are on the way. Temperatures right now, it is mild, 71 currently in Atlanta. Some of our readings have been warmer than that, 72, 73 degrees at times from Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport. In fact, I'm going to look up the airport official high temperature there, at least as of let's see what the report says. I'm kind of pulling it up here right now as we speak. So at 4, okay, no, they have not put out the climate summary for the day, but they will momentarily. Usually they do before 4:30 in the afternoon, but willing to bet our high temperature goes down to 72, maybe 73 degrees today. And we have our first chat on YouTube, Atlanta News First, the account that we're streaming on, saying okay. I can't really read the avatar, the handle there. It's a different font. But again, thank you for watching. And if you do have any other questions, comments, concerns about the forecast, just give me a holler there. And if I miss your question during the stream, I'll go back and check, of course, after the stream and answer back afterward as well. Again, hour-by-hour forecast, temperature is trending cooler pretty quickly after sunset, as the banner there says at the bottom of the screen. This is for the city of Atlanta. Again, that 3-4 o'clock hour, right around 71, 72 in the city. Back in the upper 60s by 6 p.m. But if you live outside of I-285, if you live outside of Midtown, downtown, Buckhead, where all of that pavement is, temperatures will cool more quickly. So if you're watching from Gwinnett County, if you're watching from certainly down in Pike County, southwest of Atlanta, your temperature at 6 p.m. could be more like 64, 65 pretty easily. And maybe that 9 o'clock temperature, you're already in the 50s, whereas the city of Atlanta, Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport, is still in the lower 60s, between 60 and 62 degrees. Just with all of that pavement, we've talked about it before here, the urban heat island. We just hang on to the warmth of the afternoon a little bit longer in the city of Atlanta thanks to all of that pavement and a couple other factors out there that will be present this evening. But on that note, again, we will cool pretty quickly this evening, overnight tonight. Good morning tomorrow morning to have a jacket in hand. Normal low temperature is 44. Once again, the trend of the past couple of mornings will continue. Atlanta just a little bit warmer. than the immediately, surrounding areas, and then quite a bit warmer than some of our communities. Ellijay 39, whereas Atlanta closer to 50 tomorrow morning. Carrollton 38. Atlanta waking up to a condition, closer to 50 tomorrow morning. Lots of low to mid 40s around North Georgia tomorrow. I would say that's jacket weather. A good idea to have that extra layer, but also a reminder, and if you have young kids, you send them to school with the jacket, you're going to have to remind them to bring it home because they won't be wearing it in the afternoon. High temperatures tomorrow solidly in the 70s, low to mid 70s, even a couple of degrees warmer than today. Even Ellijay, 72. Helen, 73 degrees. 75 Rome, 75 LaGrange. There could be a couple of communities here that are at 77 degrees. Lots of sunshine in the forecast tomorrow, but also those high clouds. They will be back to kind of a mix of sun and clouds through the day tomorrow. Now to the active part of the forecast. Going to go ahead and get to that. And we'll start with the hour by hour. And want to remind you that this is just one run of one forecast model, but I've actually intentionally chosen one of the driest of the kind of toolbox of forecast, computer models that we have. I've chosen the driest just to reiterate the point that there is the possibility that southern areas are going to be the focus for rain, but even this driest of the models for the metro does bring quite a bit of damp weather into the forecast Tuesday. That is a first alert weather day. And the trend over the past, day or so has been to move up the time that rain moves in, and now early enough to where the Tuesday morning commute could be a little bit damp across the metro, especially the west and southwest sides of the metro. Let's show you that process again, hour by hour forecast. High clouds this evening. We'll pause it at 10 p.m. Taking the dog out for that final walk by that point. 40s, 50s, kind of the rule. Though, again, a little bit warmer in Atlanta at 60. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., trying to get out the door. Could be some patchy fog, areas of fog, much like this morning. Not everyone sees it, and it will lift pretty quickly through the morning hours, even if you do wake up to a little bit of that fog. 41 in Blairsville, your temperature at 7 a.m. Forecast to be in the mid-40s, Carrollton, though some data a little colder. And again, this is just one snapshot of the morning, upper 30s to near 40 for an actual low. In some of our communities on the west side, Carroll County, maybe even Cleburne, Randolph counties, and Alabama tomorrow morning. By noon, we're warming up pretty quickly. Again, mix of sun and high clouds. Temperatures back in the mid to upper 60s. Some communities by noon tomorrow will already be surpassing their high temperatures that were recorded today. Again, 69 at noon. It's going to be a wonderful lunch hour in the city of Atlanta. Maybe if you're playing hooky or if you have a 3-day weekend, eat outside, take a walk on the Beltline, stop in, grab lunch, get back outside because the weather tomorrow is going to be absolutely stunning. Warmest point of the day, 3:30 or so, lots of low to mid 70s as mentioned. And then if you have dinner plans tomorrow, leading into sunset, I think you're going to notice those clouds starting to increase, especially west side of the metro, south side of the metro, down 85, LaGrange, Troup County. Clouding over there first, and then these clouds will spread northward through the evening so that by midnight Tuesday morning, or if you're watching First Alert Meteorologist Patrick Pete, 11 p.m. Monday, it'll be pretty cloudy by that point. Temperatures also warmer than previous evenings. Most of us mid to upper 50s. Atlanta warmer than 60. Clouds moving in. They act like a blanket, and they keep the warmth of the day kind of trapped at the surface where you and I are living, working, sleeping by that point, most of us, and doesn't let it get us cool at night. So that'll be the case out the door Tuesday morning. Maybe still cool enough for the light jacket, but not the 30s and the 40s that we have had. Now, hour by hour forecast. Again, first alert weather day Tuesday. Here we are, 6 a.m. This particular forecast model wants to bring in some wet weather as early as 5 to 6 a.m., even in the city of Atlanta, even earlier in Roanoke, Alabama, Wedowee, Alabama, Randolph County, Cleburne County, up into Haralson County, Carroll County, down to Heard County, even Chattooga County, Floyd County, far west side, even though northwest, if you're along the state line, your rain could begin fairly early on Tuesday. So do keep that in mind. Rain, if anything, the arrival of wet weather has moved up over the past 24 hours. Initially, it was looking like mainly afternoon, evening, but now we're gonna see some decent wet weather potentially as early as mid-morning. Speaking of, gonna pause this at 10 a.m. Now notice, again, just one run of one forecast model. The trend with this particular model, and some others as well, has been to keep the majority of the really steady rain. I'm going to draw this white line right along I-20, roughly along and south of I-20. So if you live in LaGrange, if you live in maybe Thomaston, If you live in Covington, if you live in Jonesboro, if you live down here near Lake Sinclair and Oconee, Putnam County area, Eatonton, rain could be steadier, could be heavier, and certainly more persistent throughout the day Tuesday. This particular model wants to keep our mountain communities, Blairsville, Calhoun, 75 corridor up towards Chattanooga, Clay County, North Carolina, Clayton, Rabun County, Habersham County, Banks County, wants to keep these areas a little bit drier. Lake Lanier even, maybe just some sprinkles. So clearing that off the screen and going deeper into the day Tuesday, eventually we get some of this light shower activity on up into the mountains, excuse me, but it's much lighter and spottier than some of the other data that we're looking at. So I would say, there's a fair shot we're all going to see rain, but I still think that the greatest chance for the type of rain that lasts all day long will be south of Interstate 20. But if you have outdoor plans Tuesday, even North Metro on up into the mountains, I would keep an eye on the forecast, and I would have that plan B, because in all likelihood, you're at least going to have, a few hours period of some damp and drizzly weather, and I would say that's kind of at the least. And then we get a break Wednesday. Maybe if your early morning showers could still have some damp roadways Wednesday morning, but in general, clearing out, drying out during the morning hours, and we're back to 71 or so in Atlanta. We have two fronts. The first front is mainly a rain event, not much of a change in temperature. Second front, it's the opposite, total 180 here. Much colder weather filtering back into North Georgia, not just North Georgia. I was talking with my family over in Texas. They're going to get kind of a snap of chilly weather as well. They're having their rain today into tonight. We'll get that rain from that same system as we get into, Monday night, more so Tuesday. And then they will have the cold air starting Wednesday. We will have the cold air starting Thursday. So many, many folks across the country impacted by the same two weather systems. First one brings rain, as mentioned, and then the second one will bring that sharp drop in temperature. If you are working the third shift, nurse, firefighter, so many examples, a police officer, Wednesday night into Thursday morning, going into work, early evening or late afternoon, could be pretty nice, maybe even mild, and then sharply colder as we get into Wednesday night. I think by 11 p.m. midnight, we're going to really start to have some of this chilly air starting to filter in. It's moving in from the north and west, so northwest side first, Rome, on up towards Cartersville, and then we're all kind of, cold air kind of overtaking the area, all waking up to much, much chillier weather as we get into Thursday. That forecast low temperature Thursday, that's for Atlanta, and it does not include the wind. Of course, that's the actual low temperature. I would say 30s, 40s, upper 30s, lower 40s, pretty widespread Thursday morning. With a gusty breeze, it'll be present Wednesday, but linger into Thursday. With that sticking around into Thursday morning, it is going to be cold. It'll feel like it's in the 20s and 30s. Probably wind chills in the 30s for Atlanta, 20s North Metro, far outlying in our mountain community. So winter coats, a good idea if you do have any outdoor plans, or it's a Thursday morning, probably heading to work, heading to school. Cecile Honeycutt watching all the way from Indiana, but like this news channel. Well, thank you, Cecile, for watching. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. If I did, please let me know if you have any weather questions. Always here to answer. And we're going to go and type a hello in there as well. And a reminder, we were talking about how it's not just the city of Atlanta that will be impacted by cooler weather. It's also going to be, much of the nation. First shot of cold air, it's not going to last all that long, but Cecile, you could see a little bit of snow, maybe some flurries at least, from Illinois, Indiana, even into Kentucky, Ohio, at least some flurries a possibility. And aside from that, just kind of a windy cold. Cecile, watching from Indiana, even if you're watching from, South Bend, or you're watching down towards Evansville, pretty much the entire state up there seeing a similar forecast, sharply colder, windier, and could again be some flurries, some very light snow. And also mountain snow lovers heading up into the North Georgia mountains, but more so East Tennessee, Western North Carolina, above 2,000 to 3,000 feet pretty easily. We could see some flurries as well, and maybe some accumulating snows up in, at even higher elevations than that, up in eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina, as cold air really settles in Friday into Saturday. Of course, for us, it's a mostly sunny sky, maybe some periods of clouds moving through the metro, windy, and it will be cold as we get into not just Thursday, but this lingers into the weekend. So if you have been wanting to decorate for the big holiday, Christmas, a little early, I know that's kind of taboo for some, but if you do celebrate Christmas, you do decorate, not a bad weekend to enjoy those early holiday festivities, even though it's before Thanksgiving, or just pull out the fall decor. If you decorate for Thanksgiving, that too, if you haven't already, it's going to be the perfect weekend to do so with much chillier weather and still a dry forecast. That's the nice thing. We're not having to trade off here. It's not a cold, rainy weekend. It's just a cold and mostly dry and initially mostly sunny weekend, and then some clouds back in the forecast as we get into Sunday. And there is another front in the forecast. I think if we're going to warm up just a little bit as we get into the next Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then possibly another front as well. In fact, I can go ahead and pop up AtlantaNewsFirst.com, and the forecast online and in the First Alert Weather app does go out to 10 days. So a reminder, and unfortunately, looks like we had an ad pop up right as I went to click on it, and it's overtaken the screen. Let's see if where's the exit point on this. There might not be an exit point, but you can simply take the meteorologist's word here, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, and in the First Alert Weather app, 10-day forecast. Bottom line, next Sunday, you notice we jump back into the 60s. We might jump back close to 70 or so next Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and then another front moves through, rain chance followed by some much, much chillier weather in the forecast. I want to thank you for tuning in as we get a little bit closer to the 20-minute mark. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope if you're in North Georgia, you've been able to get outside and enjoy this wonderful weather. I want to remind you, we are preempted again by sports on CBS, so no early evening newscast. But we will be having another Atlanta News First Plus stream, news included this time at 8 p.m., wherever you're watching this stream. And then I'll join Chelsea Bime for tonight on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW at 10 p.m., and then for the late news tonight on WANF Atlanta News First at 11. Hopefully, fingers crossed, going on time tonight. You can always catch up with the entire First Alert Weather team online. Social media will keep you updated. And, of course, you can join Courtney, Ella, and Rodney tomorrow morning starting at 4:30 with a complete update on your forecast. I'm going to leave you with a gorgeous view, mix of sun and clouds out there. Stunning evening is underway. A little cool after sunset. Grab the jacket, but get outside and enjoy it.